Well, I first want to say that this discussion has been very rich, and I would agree with what you said earlier, that we need to continue to break down the silos between water, wastewater, and stormwater. We need to continue to break down the silos between public and private utilities, because as we move forward to get to one water, we've got to be able to do that. In Cincinnati, for example, we've done that. We've went to sort of an integration of our water and our wastewater utilities under one administration and one management. And so now you have water, wastewater, and stormwater all as a part of one water. And probably there's a dozen more cities out there, San Francisco, others, New York, others that have that already in place. But it's important as we move forward over the next decade that we look at more integrations between water and wastewater and stormwater. The other thing I would say is that when you think about regionalization, in order for utilities that are serving the urban core communities to survive, we've got to be able to grow our systems. And we've got to be able to work more collaboratively with our neighbors. Does it make sense for a small or a medium-sized utility to make a $20 million investment for lime softening or for filtration when you have source supply or drinking water supply that you can get to that community quite cheaper? So regionalization, I think, is going to be a trend that's going to continue over the next decade. I think that when you look at the term of technology, we're all doing great things from a technology standpoint, but how are we using that technology to create what I would call new business lines? We can no longer just think that we can get revenue from our ratepayers for the water or the wastewater treatment services that we provide. So how do we take that technology and how do we create new business lines to bring in other sources of revenue for the public utility? I know on the private side, they've probably been doing that and thinking about how do we create new business lines, how do we bring in new revenue for quite some time. In the public sector in Cincinnati, we've started doing that. We've started looking at how do we, and that we're providing customer service and call center service to, for example, Alexandria, Virginia. We're also providing it to Lexington, Kentucky. So that's a new business line that we took on as a utility to bring in additional revenue. How do we take technology that is going to be what I would call smart technology as it relates to how we're viewing and monitoring and operating our systems through real-time controls and SCADA systems, and how do we use that sensors and those new technologies to provide services maybe to operate other systems that are within our region for a large utility. I think those are great challenges that we have, but I think opportunities for us as utilities. And I think the other area that I think that we need to kind of look at is how do we be more collaborative with other things that are already going on in our community. For example, in Cincinnati, we know that the Department of Transportation is doing a lot of rebuild of the interstate system, whether it be I-75 or I-71. And how do we collaborate with them to make sure that we're getting projects done in conjunction with that construction so that it's cheaper for the community that we serve, so that we're not coming back 5 years from now or 10 years from now and trying to do something within our own water or wastewater system. Let's do it and collaborate with those type of agencies now. Understanding the objectives that HUD has from a national perspective on how we create livable and walkable communities. And so that's why the discussion about sustainable infrastructure and green infrastructure is so important, and how do you set up the codes or change the local codes to make sure that you're creating neighborhoods that are livable, walkable, so that you can bring back population to the urban core of our communities, so that you have communities that are really based upon what the community wants to see, what the community wants to have in terms of its own vision. And so our motto is that first of all, you have to be able to leverage the infrastructure investments that you're making. You have to understand the current conditions of the communities that you're serving, whether it be blighted properties, whether it be unemployment. In the urban core America, and you can name it. You can name it Milwaukee, you can name Cleveland, you can name Cincinnati. We have urban core communities that have unemployment of 40 to 50%. So, but we're providing service to that urban core. So why not invest in technology and as George mentioned, a new class of jobs that are going to allow opportunities for the residents that we serve to be put to work. And so I think when utilities are looking out over the next 10 years and the next 20 years, these mega programs that we're doing, we have an opportunity to make a change from a community benefit standpoint. And we also have the ability to have a voice in the social impact and the social outcomes of the communities that we're serving.